What's up, my fellow cumchads? Thought I would round out this collection with a pile, and I swore to God I did not think that this pile would be good, and it turns out it's fucking cumchad. So, green-white, not really my thing. Dirtling in white, not normally my thing. But this has been really fucking interesting. So, definitely not an optimal list. Might be something like Sid might be more interested in playing, as it's definitely more of a white deck. But yeah, it's pretty fucking cool, and proud of this pile. So, let me know. There's definitely plenty of upgrades that we could be making. Eladamri's Call and Worldly Tutor and Enlightened Tutor and just generally better cards like Tutors, but and better ramp. But without further ado, so the commander is Trostani, and you might be thinking this is gay, and you would be right, but the activated ability is not really what we're playing it for. We're actually just playing it kind of like an enchantment. Insofar as it's got a good static ability and like 2/5 is not easy to burst down. So then just like green-white has notoriously shitty mana just for the amount of pips that are normally found in green and white, like deep color pie effects in each color. So I did my best just to get good colored mana in here. These are my only duels, Canopy Vista, and fetchable duels, Canopy Vista and Temple Garden, and then my available fetch lands that I had. So sleeves are dirty. I'm going to have to re-sleeve this and buy some more sleeves. Grassland, Frozen Verge, Prismatic. Obviously Command Tower, and then Bountiful Promenade, and then, it'd be better if I had the Gain land, it'd be more on theme, but I couldn't find it. Temple of Plenty, Sanctuary for more land, repeating your... Oh, sorry, you also have fetchable Scattered Groves, check land, Path of Ancestry. There are no other Dryads, unfortunately, but you can scry off your commander itself. Stirring Wildwood, you'll probably never activate it, but it's a duel. And then both of these are pretty activatable, both Mosswort Bridge and Windbrisk Heights, because, spoiler alert, there are tokens in this deck. And then we have Gavany for like what seems to be pretty obvious reasons. And then we round out with basic lands. Almost all of my almost all of my decks, if they're like an average start, I try to start at 35 to 36 lands. Here we have ramp, so we have Soul Ring. Soul Ring is good for the rest of the deck, but you can't cast Trostani early on curve unless you open Soul Ring Selesnya Signet. Lotus Cobra, there's a fair amount of land fetch. Starfield Mystic. This deck has a shitload of enchantments. I don't really give a shit about its secondary ability, but if it cheapens like two things in one turn, it's basically done its job. We have Cultivate, Kodama's Reach. Harvest Season. This deck has a lot of tokens, so I've never had an opportunity to play it until now, so giving it a shot. Wood Elves. Rishkar works pretty well in this strategy, especially if you can blink it. I don't think I have any ways to blink in this deck yet, but pretty cool. Omen of the Hunt, we have a Constellation package, so I'm playing this, and also, like ramp that eventually pays off in Scry is good. Literally fucking Guy's Cradle with upside, so I'm into it. Plus it comes in as an enchantment, so that matters. Solemn. Keeper of Progenitus, this one's really fun. Like, people very rarely play it, but in green-white, I feel like it's on theme to help the table also do their thing, and so if they can make use of it, then I feel like that's fun as well. So that's all of the ramp that I have. I have Farseek, I have Rampant Growth. We'll fine tune it further over time. So then we have Token Makers. Right now, I'm kind of like in between. Is this deck aggressive? Is it full on just fucking a life gain deck? But you'll see, you can kind of make that judgment call as the video plays out. But Hero of Blade Holds is like pretty fucking solid. The tokens come in attacking, so helps. I'm into it. This literally is in here because it's just fucking beautiful, but it's a good tap activated ability as well. Archon of Sun's Grace. So the Pegasi have lifelink themselves, and we have a Constellation package, and having a couple of flyers is useful to deal with Planeswalkers. Geist Honored Monk is perfect for what we want to be doing. This one is when you cast a creature, you get a 4/4, and it has double strike. And then the shuffle mechanic. Michaeloth, this is, you can just pause and read, it's pretty fucking insane. Eat your whole board, get twice that many counters, and then your next upkeep you get 1/1s for all of your counters. Armada Worm, you get a nice thick Trampley boy, good to copy with Trostani, but most of the tokens are not really worth copying. You're just copying them for like raw stats on the board. Or ETB. Harmonious Archon, this card's pretty fucking cool. I rarely see it being played, but yeah, I don't know. Pack the Borderless, might as well give it a shot. Pathbreaker, I mean, we're going wide, so kind of tells its own story. Avenger, no need to explain that. And then here are the scalable token makers. So Wolfbriar, Martial Coup. This one might come out because like the more scalable it is, the more it's going to pop your board. So like, you know, once X equals 5. But also good if you're behind on board. It's good to have at least like one Wrath, I think, in white. Finale has extremely high upside with turning into Angels. White Sun Zenith. This deck doesn't have too much instant speed interaction, so it's nice to be able to hold something up, although triple white's a little tough. And then we have the supporting creatures. So we have Mother, which is to protect the Trostani. Maybe not super necessary, but I think it's fine. Shayna, or Shauna, kind of, sort of can't be targeted. You can't really kill it with Planeswalkers easily, and then gets pretty big. Again, not super necessary, but nice to have a couple of things that just smack, because otherwise, like, if you just have fluffy 1/1s, it's kind of hard to end the game. Recruiter of Guard for a little bit of tutor. Eternal Witness, Tireless Tracker for value and something that gets large. Knight of Autumn, just good modal, also gains life, so that's cute. Renata, this card's great, honestly. It even gives creature tokens, +1/+1, so right on. Shalai, this was the original thought that I would make this a commander, but Trostani I went with a very different direction, so we'll get there. Then Academy Rector, this card is extremely important. We'll get to that later, but just know there are a lot of key enchantments. Oketra, again, like not super necessary because you're probably not spending 4 mana, but if you have 4 mana to spend, then at least it's a mana sink. Otherwise, just like an indestructible thing that could be hard to deal with over time. And then because we're making all of these tokens, and Trostani's main ability is creatures ETB, they give you life equal to their toughness. We have a Soul Sister package, and because we're in green, we actually get the color shifted ones as well. So we have Essence Warden, Soul Warden, Soul's Attendant, Auriok Champion, and Daxos. There may be other Soul Sisters that I'm missing, but I have the 5, and it's a pretty good number to have. Then this is like a little miscellaneous section. I mean, it's like white, so why not have the swords? Panharmonicon doubles the Trostani triggers, and otherwise, you know, just important things, such as like Eternal Witness and Avenger of Zendikar and Recruiter and Knight of Autumn, so that's Panharmonicon. Well of Lost Dreams, I don't think green really struggles to draw cards, but white does, and this is a nice way to pay off all of this life gain that we have incidentally. This card's fucking nuts, honestly, because once you scale and your creatures are large off of many Anthems or Shalai or whatever it is, or you just have 4/4 Angels, then you're gaining like absurd amounts of life on top of, you know, it counts token creatures. So, and then sort of the enchantment version of Trostani is Angelic Chorus. Cool. So then kind of sort of furthermore miscellaneous, but also I guess this is like a constellation section. So Season of Growth, not super necessary, but like sometimes you get stuck with Sylvan Library and it's like you don't really have ways to target your own creatures, but like who cares? You probably over the course of a game are going to have like 50-60 creatures enter the battlefield. So the ability to manipulate your deck with something that doesn't get killed by creature removal I think is pretty cool. Otherwise I would play Cream of the Crop if you had slightly larger tokens. You guys could look that up. Sylvan, I love this little card. It's part of the reason why I just wanted a Constellation package at all. So, you know, Constellation is the card itself plus other enchantments, and look at the top 3. Add a land, it doesn't even say a basic, so that's pretty cool. It's kind of, I think, a reason maybe to play like 37, 38 lands. Courser is enchantment. Eidolon. And then Primeval Bounty in decks like this, which are just like slower and they're using their life total as a resource, not as a hard control deck, but just as like a thick pad of fat. Primeval Bounty is like exactly what you want to do, because then you're turning just like random piece of shit support creatures into like 7, 8, 11 power things that people don't really want to point removal at, but at the same time, if they don't have removal for Primeval Bounty, then rock in a hard place. And then getting on to basically the real reasons to play the deck outside of just you wanted to play a green-white, like fluffy, non-threatening deck at the face of it. So here's the tutor, the only tutor that I really have. Beastmaster Ascension, so ways to turn your fluffy dudes into savages. Aura Shards. I had half a mind just to throw Mycosynth Lattice in this deck and be like, yeah, Mycosynth Lattice, and then the next turn, like, Aura Shards, make 6 tokens, and then, like, pop everything relevant. But I think it's just fine as is, because, like, this way you don't have to play... If you could tutor this, and maybe you play other tutors for this, you don't have to play, like, too many disenchant effects, and then you just disenchant everything at once. It is a lot of eggs in this basket, but I think it's pretty decent. Second Harvest, it's good, but it's also not great in this deck, because I think most Trostani decks are basically trying to make, like, large creature tokens and copy them. And again, like, I'm really more so using her for her ETB trigger. Nonetheless, like, it's an instant, like, it's kind of a blowout. It's still powerful. We're just not maximizing it. Mirari's Wake, like, it's an anthem. It doubles your mana. It's fucking insane. We don't have any mana elves, so, like, I took out the Avacyn's Pilgrim and the Bird. Parallel Lives. Okay, so now we're getting into, like, the real reasons to play the deck. It's cool to have Beastmaster. It's cool to have Mirari Wake and Aura Shards and Primeval, but, like, now we're getting into cards that can actually, like, scare the shit out of the table. So Parallel Lives and the Plane Shifted, essentially Anointed Procession, and Divine Visitation. So I'm focusing on basically, like, relatively cost-efficient ways to make tokens. That way I'm not spending too much on, like, 5/5 tokens or, you know, pumping my tokens like crazy, because I'm basically just trying to buy time for things like Divine Visitation or like Anointed and Parallel Lives. Divine Visitation will let you go on offense while also, you know, Vigilance allowing you to keep defense. But otherwise, like, you know, you're just upgrading. This is like when the deck kicks into the late game. Doubling Season doubles tokens, doubles counters, doubles loyalty as well. So here we go. True Conviction, this was like the 99th card. It's again, it's fine. Like, I'm not building this deck to, like, OTK with aggro, although, you know, possible with Second Harvest, Mirari's Wake, Beastmasters, and Anthems, but more so for the lifelink, honestly. Okay, then a couple of Planeswalkers. This is the reason why we have Doubling Season in the deck. So, Huatli, you don't even need Doubling Season to go off just because of how many creatures you have. The middle ability is, like, fine. You know, you could just kill someone with a big flyer and a big board. But, you know, really the -8 for the draw is what we're here for. Then we have Calyx. You're probably just discarding a hand size. I don't have any loot, to my knowledge, at all, or any even targeted discard, but there's just so many enchantments that I don't care, and, like, it's pretty cool, you know, alt art, borderless. And then we have Ugin. Ugin is pretty, like, the minus is not great for our own deck, because even a -0 will wipe most of our offense. However, the ability to Doubling Season Ugin, not only do you gain 7 life, but you draw 7 cards and you put 7 things onto the battlefield. Like, any deck that could realistically get an Ugin out with Doubling Season through ramp, or maybe I find room for Genesis Wave in this deck. Yeah, like, if you're realistically playing Doubling Season for all reasons to play it, which I am, which is counters, tokens, and even a little bit of loyalty, I feel like it's worth playing Ugin. And then from behind, Ugin is fantastic, because you could just play, like, you could just keep a hand, which is, like, 3 ramp spells Ugin, and then, like, you know, just do nothing and then level the playing field. And then, because we are a life gain deck, Aetherflux Reservoir, you know, this, I feel like this deck ends up in so many decks that I play. But, I mean, this card, but truth be told, a very easy way to make a deck pretty competitive with an uncompetitive mechanic, which is life gain, without, like, you know, swapping life totals with anyone, without doing anything like that. So, you know, slow roll it, but all the more reason to play, like, Enlightened Tutor if I had extras or whatever, just to find it. And then I feel like Weisson's going to like this one. We have Spike Feeder, Archangel of Thune. So I was like, yeah, no shit, Archangel, because there's, you know, we're going wide, we have life gain. Then I forgot I packed this in, like, the Time Spiral set or whatever. So maybe we play Birthing Pod. Kind of stupid. Probably not worth it. Maybe just, like, Eldritch Evolution or something to hop into Archangel of Thune and bump the board, because, you know, Archangel coming in with Soul Sisters on board was a constructed deck for a long time, and Pod itself for Spike Feeder Archangel was a deck itself for a long time. But another cute, if you're unaware, this is an infinite combo. You're looking at it. So there you go. And then lastly, we have Felidar Sovereign. So in a long-winded way of saying in this video, this deck is supposed to look unassuming for a while. And if anyone is knowledgeable about Magic, then they're like, okay, like the things that we need to worry about are like these cards, like Doubling Season, Visitation, the token doublers, Beastmaster Ascension. We don't want to get run down by the little kid token deck, which is a fair assessment. But really what I'm here for is just trying to gain like 90 life so I can just take a few hits and be around long enough to set up alternate win conditions. And in my opinion, those alt win conditions are, a soft one is just getting off 1 or 2 Ugin ults. 2, because like you just have big enough mana where you could E-Witness it and play it again into a Doubling Season. Or, you know, Archangel Spike Feeder, or Aetherflux Reservoir, or maybe getting off a Calyx ult and like your enchantments were just attrition throughout the game. Or lastly, the Felidar Sovereign. So this one's kind of ridiculously unreasonable to expect because you have to get it for your next upkeep, and we don't have any flash. But yeah, it's a pretty cool concept. I think it's 100 or 101 cards right now. I'll probably just cut like either a ramp spell or like Hero of Bladehold or like one of the weaker token makers. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I thought this was a pretty cute one.